I'm at work right now, so it's going to be a little bit noisier than normal doing these videos, but I want to do a short video right now because I'm sure by now you guys have seen this viral video of George Floyd, the man who was killed in Minneapolis by a policeman who was kneeling on his neck while he was in handcuffs. It's a tough video to watch if you've seen it. It's even tougher to listen to. Now, we're seeing videos of looting and riots breaking out all throughout Minneapolis. As a teenager, this can be a lot to process. Maybe you feel confused, maybe you feel angry, maybe you yourself are feeling afraid, but more than likely, I think that we all share this common feeling of being helpless. That's why we're seeing the riots and the looting. We're seeing a group of people who feel unheard, they feel powerless, and they're angry, and they're lashing out the only way that they know how. But does this make it right? No, I'm not saying that. But I can see that they're frustrated, they don't know how to respond, they don't know what to do. Because they do feel hopeless, they feel helpless, they feel powerless, and they're angry. So as a teenager, and guys, even more as a youth group, how are we supposed to respond when we see these kind of things going on? What can we do? Ultimately, guys, I want to look at what the Bible says about these type of things. There's a few things that I want to share with you guys. First of all, hang on just a second, okay? Just let me finish. What I want to say is that this is not a social justice issue. The reason I say that is because to look at this biblically, the word justice doesn't need an adjective added to it. You see, there is no political justice, there's no social justice, there's no economic justice, there's no civil justice. It's just justice. That's all there is. Justice is justice. So when the Bible talks about justice, it's talking about all the human rights, all equality, every single form of the word of justice is included. So here's what the Bible does say. Deuteronomy 32:4 says that God is not biased. So there is not one form of justice that goes to one group and another form of justice that is meant for another group. This is where the Lord's justice is clearly communicated to us as equal. Philippians 2:6-8. Jesus came to this world without privilege. So what that communicates to us is that he himself has experienced injustice. He himself has experienced inequality, and he himself he suffered at the hands of those who did have privilege. Revelation 19:11 says Jesus will return to wage war against justice. So we are not the only ones affected by injustice that is surrounding us. So when George Floyd, and countless others, when they've been murdered by the hands of those who have been entrusted to enforce justice, see, the Lord is grieved through this. Imagine the families and how much they love these victims. Guys, the Lord loves them even more so. So you see, the Lord wants justice even more than you and I do. 1 John chapter 3 says, hatred of those made in the image of God is sin. Proverbs 17, mistreating people with the justice system is a sin. Deuteronomy 23, ignoring the cries of those being mistreated is sin. So there it is. Hatred is sin. Mistreating the justice system is sin. But also ignoring the injustices is sin. So now, what are we supposed to do? And I don't know that I have the answer for that. I know it's not an easy answer. I know it's not an overnight fix. But the Lord is just, and he is the justifier. So prayer is a good place to start. I know that President Trump has ordered the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate this most current case of injustice, and we can pray that the Lord's justice will be played out where it is rightly deserved. And the last thing I want to say is this is not the time to be instructing our brothers and sisters who are hurting how they ought to be feeling and how they ought to be processing this tragedy. Let's not engage in foolish debate during this time. This is a time to listen and to lean in to our brothers and sisters and let them be heard. The last thing I want to do, I'm going to show you an illustration, guys. I have this little coaster that I keep on my desk. It's a very cute picture of Jackson when he was a baby, the first time that we went to a Reds game. So as you're looking at this coaster, we're both looking at a coaster, right? We both see the same thing. But where you see Jackson at a baseball game, I see corkboard. See, we're looking at the same thing, but we have a completely different perspective of this item. And so guys, it's hard for me to tell you what you ought to be seeing when I am seeing something completely different. So let's be aware of this when we talk about issues like this, understanding that we might be looking at the same thing, but maybe we're not looking at it the exact same way. Maybe the picture you're seeing is not the picture that I'm seeing. And so it's times like this that we need to be lending an ear to those who are not being heard the way that Jesus did. See, justice is for every single aspect of our lives and also the lives of every single person made in his image. So guys, let's be compassionate with each other and patient with each other. And let's not get involved in foolish debate, but rather let's share the love of Christ during this time and help others as we all begin to try to just process what's happening and what we're all supposed to do. Love you guys. See you soon.